Office of the Medical Examiner, Beatsville. Dr. Jack Hanman is speaking. How can I help you?
Good evening, this is Kate Brooks. I'm not sure if you remember me. A few weeks ago, we talked about an article I'm working on. It's about your wife. I dropped by last Friday to speak to you, but you weren't working at the time. I asked the security guard to pass on a note for me. I would like us to discuss the topic of...
I thought I had made it painfully obvious for the last time. No! Please don't call me again and stop inquiring about my wife. Damn journalists. They don't let me work. God damn it. I'm not in the best frame of mind to record a lecture for my students now. I'm feeling completely broken. Where did I leave my meds this time? Not very comfortable, but suitable for night shifts. Another kidnapping this month. Okay, time to pull myself together. And get back to work.
Wait.
I'm not looking to overdose. I need to set the camera first. This place is starting to look like a hoarder's dream. Now remember, Jack, don't forget to hit the record button this time. I don't see any need to mess with the electrics. They are flaky enough as it is. Hopefully the new tripod is going to hold up. Now, I just have to get everything in frame. This should be fun. November 20th, 1991. Time, 8:43 p.m. Recording for medical students from the University of Missouri. This autopsy is conducted by Jack Hanman. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the autopsy room. Today, you will have the dubious pleasure of following a full autopsy, step by step. For those of you who have already performed your first autopsy, this will refresh your basic knowledge. Until let's start. Always wear an apron, mask, and gloves. Goggles are a must when the job is splashy. And in case of sharp, it's true that you won't get Tommen. You may end up. The cadaver is placed on its back on the autopsy table. The pathologist stands on the right of the deceased. Make sure that all the necessary tools are always at hand so that you don't have to run around looking for something like I do all the time. In the process of reviewing and securing forensic, it is difficult. Written and photographed during your research, many entries of, and lastly, remember that during your research, be patient, inquisitive, but above all, attentive to detail. Many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes during your research, many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes they can be cover for more interesting stories. Now, on to the police folder. That will contain all sorts of pertinent information as to who the deceased's name is, Tobias Chambers. Homeless and unemployed for at least a couple of weeks. The deceased was found on the outskirts of a parking lot at a gas station, where he often begged and... The body was noticed by a station employee during the morning shift. Initially, he thought that someone had thrown some boots and a coat in the nearby. It took him a moment to recognize the body. Signs of libation were found around the body. Empty bottles, traces of an inept attempt to start a fire, and a scattered makeshift blanket. He worked most of his life at the local port dealing with unloaded cargo. His son runs a hardware store on his own. That's it. It's worth remembering the context around the scene of her death. This allows you to better interpret, and now it's our turn to take some pictures for our files. If I can just remember where I left the camera. It's here somewhere. Aha! There you are. I knew it was here somewhere. As I mentioned at the beginning, before we begin the internal examination, we need to document the cadaver and the condition it arrived in. We begin with a full body photo. Try and stick with the top-down rule, but this is not always possible. Let's keep in mind it's all about the legibility, not the perfect frame. Voila! Now we move on to the next step. Looking for traces. Take your time. Look at the corpse from different. You're looking for any... Hardened hands, worn out by physical work and frostbite. Some wounds in the feet, signs of frostbite, probably because the subject's shoes were too small. That's something interesting. It will be necessary to check whether this injury was severe enough to cause damage to the brain. Poorly-healed wound. Looks old. Not that close you look later. In a moment, we will check which of our initial observations will be worthy of further consideration. But before we get to that, I need to write down some basic data. Personal information. The deceased was unclothed. Date. Okay, as you can see, I note everything down on previously prepared forms. Every pathologist must keep a detailed record of every step of the autopsy. This not only allows you to track it, so, enough of it. Let's begin by taking a look. For this, you're going to need a magnifying glass. Which spot first? I can confirm the presence of ecchymosis on the deceased man's head. The appearance of alcohol. It looks like a burn mark, no doubt painful, but it's not pertinent for this case. Here we can see frostbite on the fingertips. We can tell by the characteristic skin color. Definitely a painful mix of frostbite, abrasions, and blisters. Well, Toby had been wearing shoes too small for him for a very long time. That's if he wore any. All. So far, there are a lot of superficial wounds, but only one serious injury to the head. Let's go back to our notes. First, I marked the location of the injuries, the head wound. Definitely an important clue. Even though this type of wound didn't contribute, we're not in front if Toby's body was cold for a prolonged period. Various types of accidents. This is of no interest. Considering the conditions, the nights have been particularly nasty lately. We will check if there are any signs of freezing internally. Since the deceased clearly smelled of alcohol, I'll add alcohol poisoning to our list. We still have one thing left from the basics, rigor mortis. Well, we take our deceased by the hand, gradually re-raise it. Now let it go. As you can see, the hand falls loose. What's the conclusion? Death must have occurred more than 72 hours ago. The police information appears correct. Head trauma seems the most promising, so we'll start there. For this, I need an oscillating saw. The cut is made from ear to ear. After which, we remove the skin and the top of the skull. After the basic examination, we can see that the brain's cerebral gyri in both hemispheres are symmetric. The brain looks good. Let's take a cross-section. Some pathologists prefer to examine organs without removing them. However, for me, it's much more convenient. Holding a long, narrow blade knife in the dominant hand, we slowly cut the cranial nerves on both sides, all the time pulling the brain towards us. So far, so good. The hematoma seems to have had no effect on the brain. We can rule the fatal accident out as well. Brain is in good condition, so we have no choice. But to proceed, I grab a scalpel from my kit. The incision should be in the shape of a letter Y. We use a deep cut to reach all the way to the ribs and to penetrate the abdominal wall. All right. Now we peel back and separate the skin. Now, we need to remove the ribs. We'll need the loppers for this. Quite a satisfying crunch. First, we can see widespread black and tarry deposits caused by smoking. Despite the tragic condition of the lungs, they are not the cause of death. Alice smoked too. It didn't kill her, but... what was I talking about? Lung, yeah, advanced... What now? The syringe. Now's a good time to collect some samples. Specifically 3. From the eye, the heart, and 5 milliliters from the left ventricle should do it. Vitreous humor analysis is very useful in indicating long-term alcohol abuse. Now from the bladder, we draw about 10 milliliters of fluid. Now we take our samples to the centrifuge, but before I do that, I need to find my notebook. My dyscalculia means that I always double-check the settings. Please excuse me while I run and fetch it. This whole thing is covered in stains. I should check this out under the microscope sometime. Let's get back to the examination. We put all of the samples into the rotor. Now, we set the appropriate time and speed. Okay, let's roll. Oh shit, the fuses again. Where were we? Oh yes, the blood alcohol concentration. Let's see what we've got here. Everything's separated as it should. Our lab is closed until tomorrow after the last incident. However, considering that Toby's favorite, I'm guessing the results won't. Let's go further. We will now focus on the cardiovascular system, specifically the heart. We remove the organ and examine it closely. We look for dark hypoxic areas, clots, or other elements that stand out as abnormal. At first glance, the heart looks fine. The pulmonary trunk and aorta seem to be in good condition. There are no pathological changes that would have contributed to Toby's death. Now let's take a closer look at the stomach. Size is normal, and as expected, the stomach has no major external damage. We must now cut it open and inspect inside.
它的胃好 Q 弹。
We will do it carefully so that its contents do not spill out. We open the stomach along the greater curvature, from the heart to the pyloric end. Oh, I already feel like there's something left inside. Okay, large amount of gas, small amounts of yellow, grayish food content, resembling some kind of meat. Either our deceased hadn't eaten in days, or the bulk of his stomach had already found a way out. Looks like I'll have to find the missing contents. There are two ways here. One is obvious. It couldn't have been suffocation. At first glance, the trachea looks normal. Same result as with the stomach. The external inspection doesn't tell us anything. This time we'll cut on a tray. While cutting such a small organ as the trachea, we must make a precise incision. To be able to cut with the very tip of the blade, we must hold the scalpel as we would a pen. And after careful examination and deduction, we've got it. It's time to summarize the whole thing. Based on the report and preliminary documentation, it's safe to assume that the deceased passed out after consumption of alcohol and then fell asleep on his back. Then, the gastric contents refluxed and flooded the airways, causing death. That's why we don't forget about the recovery position at dorm parties. And now it's all clear. The death was suffocation. The mystery is solved. But for us, this is not the end. First, the dead body needs to be cleaned up. For this, we will need to close the body and grab the needle. First, we unroll the skin flaps. And then, we sew the deceased back up. I'm using the baseball stitch technique. This stitching method is very strong and quick to do. Beautiful. Now we say goodbye to the deceased and put them safely in the fridge, ready for the next stage of their journey. God, I'm tired. I'll drop these samples off at the lab on the way to the bar. I wasn't sure it would amount to anything. Poor soul. I get cases like this more than any other. I'll call Steven. I don't feel like drinking alone today. But the word is, the lab will be open tomorrow.
嗯，干嘛？我们这么突然？
Forgive me. What? Christ. What a dream. Fuck. So much light everywhere. A pill a day keeps the defective Jack away. It's a shame these won't help with my hangover. The fucking phone. Okay. I know I'm late. I'll be there soon. It's not like the dead are impatient.
Jack, no.
Alice? Who is this?
It's Charlotte Graves.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. I thought it was work calling.
It's okay. I hate it when work calls me at home, too. How is everything? We haven't talked since... you know.
Well, there are good days, and there are bad days. What can I say? At least I can hide away at work.
Well, you always were the most comfortable in the nice too.
这个主角的老婆好像已经过世。
Okay, how can I help?
It's nothing serious. I just wanted to ask. Do you have any pictures of Alice? Maybe one where the two of us are together? I'd love to have something to remind me of her.
I guess. I'm not sure. I'll look through her things.
Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you with this. All this can't be easy for you.
I'll get through it somehow. I've been meaning to sort through her stuff for a while. Have you asked Stephen if he has anything?
Yes, I spoke with him this morning. He said he gave everything to their mother and that I should ask you.
I see.
Jack, I know you're trying. That you cope somehow. Stephen's there for you. Although, I mean, if you want him to reminisce about Alice, talk.
I really should go now. And I still have some errands to run on the way.
Oh, sorry to keep you.
I'll look for something and send it over. Thanks for the call.
Oh, do you have my...
Not on hand. You'd best remind me again.
292 Browning Lane, apartment.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Just miss her so much.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Thank you.
You too, Charlotte. Well, that was a bit unexpected. I should probably find something to send. Alice didn't like this portrait. It was a miracle that the coffee didn't wash off the writing. And that she said yes. Till death do us part. wasn't able to support her through this. She got it for her first day of work, and she broke it the same day. She said it was for luck. It's always good to have something for a rainy day. Alice and Charlotte in Amsterdam. It's hard to believe they've known each other for so long. It's been almost a year. It would be better if Charlotte had this. It deserves to be on display, and not hidden in a drawer. Okay, time to go to work. I'm seriously late. Some days, I just feel like setting fire to all this paperwork. I'm fed up with it. An indispensable element of every office. I should really try and read a few of these. I'm not in the mood for music lately. They certainly have more will to live.
他老婆蛮漂亮的。
I still feel uneasy. At this time, Alice would probably be sitting here reading a book. The remnants of last night's binge with Steven. I'm not sure if it's still edible. I should grab some coffee and aspirin on the way. Alice used to joke that smoking these fluorescent tubes are brutal. Oh shit. Almost left the door open.
对吧？翻译不完全。
I hope this helps, Charlotte. Okay. All done here. Time to go. Huh? Damn. I forgot my jacket. Well. I'll brave it for tonight. Too bad. Nice and fresh. At least it's... peaceful here. Good evening, Mr. Ridley.
The timesheet Hammond.
Some corpses have more personality than this guy. Christ. Who leaves the window open in the middle of November? So I'd better check the answering machine.
Hi, Jack. I dropped by a little early today. I left the body with Ridley in the corridor. He wasn't sitting in the locker then, so maybe he'll even throw him into the room. Well, how are you doing? I mean, it's your first birthday without her, and... This, I still have a hangover, and you know me, I run to the John like the neighbor's fucking dog. You know, today I slipped on his shit again. That fucking furball. He always has to shit next to my car. Anyway, I can't come over in the evening, but we'll catch up on the weekend, okay? Bye. Fuck, I almost forgot. Charlotte called me this morning. She asked about you, so answer your calls, Jack. This time it's not a reprimand for being late.
That's par for the course. I wonder when this clown will learn to look under his feet. Due to a lack of preparation, this time the lecture will be improvised. Oh, it's actually my birthday. Dorothy must have marked them down. What? Still no mold? What kind of cheap and nasty coffee is this? Birthday. I actually forgot it was today. Alice baked me muffins like these every birthday. A treat for later. I always crave something sweet after a section. Okay, joke's over. Apron, gloves, and get to work. Man. I remember you. You were on that talent show. What was your name again? I need to order another batch of these. I've got to remember to do that later. And that's the whole point. Steven laughs at me for recording everything. He says I have a bigger collection of stuff like this than most of the creeps he's caught. November 21st, 1991. Time, 9:13 p.m. The autopsy is conducted by Jack Handman. Lecture for the Medical University of Missouri. After yesterday's lecture, you should already know the ins and outs, so today we'll be consolidating our knowledge. So, where do I start? That's right, police folder. Ah, yes, Samantha Barker. Now I remember. There's probably gonna be a lot of chatter about this. Found in her own apartment by police patrol. Officers were called by a concerned friend of the deceased, who had been unable to contact Barker for several days. During the interrogation, a friend of the deceased admitted that Samantha never got to grips with the sudden fame. The deceased was found in her own apartment, in a semi-recumbent position on an armchair. Large quantity after her first album became a commercial success. She was hit with the creep. When questioned, friends admitted that Samantha's last days before losing contact seemed extremely happy and relaxed. She also quit drinking alcohol and mentioned something about rehab. Okay, now we can continue with the examination. Again, begin by taking photographs of the cadaver. I guarantee that over time it will cease being embarrassing for you. First, we photograph the whole body. And now, any suspicious-looking marks or wounds. Yes, I've seen this many times. Well, there's even more here. Interesting. Very uneven. We need to investigate this. You don't get such bruises from a normal contusion. A few we will need to look into here. Notes prepared. Time to take a closer look. Some furrows have imprinted more strongly, others less, as if someone was undecided. The number of bruises suggests that there may have been some kind of tussle. Such bruises are caused by either a very heavy blow or by some internal issues. And here's something interesting. The skin of the deceased is covered with numerous blisters. Some of them are ruptured, others still contain fluid residue. More numerous blisters. We have some leads to investigate here. Let's write this down. Given the condition on the neck of the deceased, currently it's difficult to say whether the bruises were in general, although it's easier to have abrasions on your feet. But the number and size of the blisters suggest that it's probably a matter of barbiturate poisoning. Examination with a UV lamp will dispel some doubts. Potential attackers could have left traces. A severed spinal cord. After examining the organs, we can easily verify what I'll add barbiturates to the list of necessary to be checked in the lab later. Given the testimony of the victim's friend, I add alcohol poisoning to the list of potential causes of Miss Barker's death. A blood test will no doubt quickly verify that hypothesis. But first I'll check for external traces. For this we use the good old UV lamp. I look carefully at the whole body. UV rays will reveal any traces. The area around the head is empty. Legs, there's nothing here. The left hand seems to be fine. No marks. Well, nothing to surprise us here. Now gently, we take the deceased by the hand, and we check for rigor mortis. Again, the hand falls freely. After yesterday, you should know what this means. Since we don't have a definitive lead, we will examine all the key organs one by one. So, I'm starting the internal inspection. I dissect the skin of the deceased. And I proceed to deflect the skin flaps. Compared with yesterday's body, the deceased has only trace amounts of adipose tissue. Now for the ribs. What do we have here? Or rather, what don't we have? There is certainly no sign of internal bleeding. Sometimes regarding bruising, it doesn't take much. My wife was constantly banging into furniture, walking into door frames. That's a wonder she never broke anything. Before I disembowel the deceased, I will take samples for toxicological tests to determine the alcohol content in the body. I just need my syringe. Just to be sure, I'm taking samples. All done. I'll transfer these to the centrifuge.
我的肺都这么黑啊！
70, 10, 75? Maybe one day I won't need my notebook. Numbers have never been my strong point. It's probably why I regularly forgot birthdays and anniversaries. I'm lucky Alice always forgave me. Gently does it with this old thing. Handle with kid gloves. I'm starting the centrifuge. Let's see what results come out. A considerable collection. The laboratory is already open, so... Fucking hell! Ridley! Mr. Ridley! Where is he? The fuses need resetting. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. I swear there was a flashlight in here. Whatever. I know where the switches are anyway. First the right, and then the left. And voila. What? What the? Oh, for fuck's sake. Can't I work in peace? Jack Hanman speaking.
Easy, why so rude?
Steve? Sorry, man. This place is falling apart, and Ridley won't even lift a finger to help. You just can't work here.
Did the centrifuge strip the fuses again?
Yeah, eventually everything's gonna go up in smoke.
Look on the bright side. It's a free cremation with your autopsy.
Jesus, stop it. That shit pisses me off.
Okay, sorry, Jack. Anyway, I'm calling to ask how the autopsy's going. Soon there'll be journalists sniffing around for info, so we'd best be ready.
I'll whiz through this in a couple of hours. It doesn't look like a complicated case to me. More of a formality. The report will be available in the morning.
Sounds great. Thanks. Phew! How's your head?
Well, my head seems better than yours. On the way to work.
Holy fuck. Jack, turn on the radio.
What? What's happening?
Quiet.
A 3-car police convoy was involved in an accident near Pete's Bay Bridge while transporting prisoners to Orleans Parish Prison. At the moment, we do not know the exact number of victims or whether any of the convicts escaped. However, the scale of the accident indicates a large number of victims, possibly even fatal ones. Police are on their way to investigate the incident and secure the area. We know that the injured prisoners are on death row. The police were to transport them to their execution, which was to take place tomorrow morning. Many of them are very dangerous criminals. We will report on the matter on an ongoing basis, so stay tuned with us.
What? Steven, was Red Pete one of the passengers? He was, wasn't he? What if he survived?
Jack, I have to go. They want me on site.
What if he survived?
I gotta go. Talk to you later, okay?
Fuck. Calm down, Jack. Pills. I need my pills.
红魔比特
You heard him, Jack. A serious accident. Lots of victims. He's definitely dead.
感觉跟他妻子的死有关系哦。
Nothing's going to happen. Christ. I've got to get back to work. What? Technical break. At least I know I can pursue a career as a janitor if I need to. Fucking hell! Alright, let's see if we were able to get anything out of this piece of crap. And miraculously, yes. The samples did spin. I'll transfer them to the chromograph in the lab. It's been a while since the eye wash in this thing was changed. It's probably a health hazard now.
要在哪里啊？
I get cases like this more than any other. Alright, let's load this up. I placed the test tubes in the rack. Now, just take 5 milliliters from each. Precisely. And the next. 5 more. We put the prepared sample into the machine. Let's see what we have here. The results indicate that the deceased did consume alcohol shortly before her death. However, this is not an amount that could cause poisoning leading to death, just slight inebriation. I can return to the body and continue the rest of the examination. The chromatograph results show that we can eliminate alcohol poisoning from our list of potential causes of death. However, remember that alcohol can affect the functioning of the entire body. It disturbs the heart rhythm, accelerating its rate, and dilutes the blood, which may result in more severe bleeding in the event of an accident. Also remember that alcohol affects the metabolism of drugs in the liver, which I'll now look at in more detail. First, I'll pick up the syringe again. I'll take samples from the liver and the heart to test the concentration of barbiturates in the body. That's enough. I'll do the test later. I'd best not try my luck with the centrifuge right now. Now I remove the liver. No lesions. However, it is slightly enlarged. Perhaps it's a slight inflammation or drug-induced damage. It may also be the result of the deposition of substances from... Let's check the weight of the organ. The weight is 1,300 grams. The liver is enlarged. I'll move on to a cross-sectional study. Perhaps the enlargement is the result of early cancerous changes. The blade glides through smoothly. I don't feel like I'm encountering any changes with an unusual structure. No steatosis or cirrhosis. The liver is actually quite clean inside. The liver is basically healthy. We already know that the deceased didn't abuse alcohol. The question is, what about drugs or other substances? I move on to the heart. Oh. At a glance, we can see signs of a heart attack. The deceased is definitely too young to have a heart attack due to natural causes. The liver is enlarged, not from alcohol poisoning, and the heart looks like it has collapsed. So, I guess we need to go to the centrifuge and check for these barbiturates. The last time I saw this kind of poisoning was a few years ago. I better check the data in my notebook. He was a middle-aged guy. He took his medication and forgot about it. So, he took another pill. He forgot again, and took another one. And another. All right. We close the centrifuge and pray that it doesn't trip anything again. It looks like our luck is in. We can take the samples to the lab now. I wonder how she was able to get hold of these drugs. Okay, 2 samples this time. 6 milliliters each. Well, let's see how much of it we find. Nothing surprising. Significant amounts of phenobarbital metabolites of hepatic origin. Looks like I'll have to check the contents of the deceased's stomach. The tests showed that the collected blood contained enough barbiturates to cause cardiopulmonary collapse. The question now is whether it was an accident or a deliberate act. I'm proceeding to examine the stomach. Before extraction, I ligate the entire organ to prevent its contents from spilling out. Okay, I'm now cutting out the organ, which will move to the board for dissection. Normally, the stomach and intestines are full of surprises. Not this time. We see remnants of undigested food and a dense mass of pills. You don't take this many drugs by accident. Length and width normal. No obvious pathological changes. Undigested drugs found in the stomach of the deceased. The direct cause of death was lungs are normal, no lesions. The victim was the deceased's trachea is normal. Complete patency. The deceased's intestine is normal. No clear pathological changes. Abdominal cavity checked off. We can check the brain. I make a cut to open the lid of the victim's skull and remove the brain. Brain is normal. No obvious lesions. Alright. I need to dissect it on a board. Using a knife, I carefully cut through the brain tissue. I peek inside a bit, and... I don't think there's anything worth... As expected, the deceased's brain is in excellent condition. No discoloration or changes due to hypoxia. There is still the matter of the marks on the neck. They look superficial, but who knows? Maybe the spinal cord has been severed. I need goggles and a saber saw. I think the goggles were in the desk drawer. Oh, they're... Alice. Some of my previous cases. A reminder of more. Saw. I mean, saw. Fuck. I don't see it here. Oh. I know. I probably left it in the basement after its last. Mr. Ridley, I need a key to the basement.
It's in the social room.
Why is the key lying at the... never mind. Thank you.
Hey, Hammond. Did you hear about the convoy? Well, maybe you'll get a chance to relive your glory days and catch Red Beat again, huh?
Let's hope there won't be a need for that.
说话你至少要看一下我吧。
If only he could put that much enthusiasm into his work. I get the feeling that searching through this rubbish is more pathogenic than working with corpses. Please, may this be the last trip. Why did the prison convoy have to get into an accident? Jack,
游戏都没那么卡。
deep, pleasantly cool breath. We're nearly finished with the autopsy. Then you can go home and rest. I'll take the saw. Fuck! It's jammed! Doesn't anyone do maintenance around here? Damn hatch. Damn red Pete. Never again. If only. It would be easier if I put... Damn student lectures and their fucking props. And like clockwork, he's already sleeping. Sorry for the short interruption. I hope you all took the opportunity to grab some coffee. And now that I have everything I need, I'll move on to revealing the spinal cord. spine is removed. I can see that the spinal
不是还有 QTE 啊？
severed. This shows that apart from the marks around the neck, hanging didn't negatively affect the condition of the deceased. Ladies and gentlemen, almost over. Now, to sum up and tidy away the body. The direct cause of Samantha Barker's death was a heart attack resulting from an overdose of barbiturates. Traces found on the body suggest that the overdose was a deliberate act, following a failed attempt to hang herself. The autopsy found no evidence or genetic materials indicating that death could have been the result of an attack. Third-party involvement must be excluded. Autograph, and we can start sewing. In the 1950s and 1960s, the use of barbiturates for suicide was actually quite common. I think it was most talked about after the death of Marilyn Monroe. At home, it was a help and comfort. On death row, a farewell to the convicts. Well, we're done for today. Thank you for your attention.
我现在知道为什么有的家属不愿意让人家捡尸，解剖啦，因为解剖之后里面都空的。
Tiring day. I can feel those hunger pains coming on. I guess I'll have to pick something up along the way. Gloves in the trash, leave the apron for cleaning. Now I can go. Camera. I didn't turn it off. A nightcap will do me good. Good night, Mr. Ridley. The police will pick up the body and accompanying documentation in the morning.
Sure.
I guess there are actually two things in this world you can be certain of. Death and Ridley's reluctant attitude. Alright, maybe three things. My whiskey on the rocks when I get home. cold. I guess I should have brought my jacket to work. This block can be quite intimidating when it's so quiet. Almost there. Stephen didn't want to go out for a drink tonight, so I'll drink my whiskey in the company of my TV. Shit. I forgot the muffin. Well, Ridley will have a nice treat for the night. I'm sure he'll be his happy, thankful self tomorrow. What? What the fuck? But I locked it. I'm sure of it. Who the fuck did this? I don't have anything valuable. Money. They must have stolen the money. Fuck! Great. That's all I need. What if it was Red Pete? It was a miracle that the coffee didn't wash off the writing. And that she said yes. These were from Thanksgiving. Stephen invited me. I was going to give them to his mother, but then I met Alice. That was the first time I saw her. Where? I need my pills. I can't get my thoughts together. Okay. I'm gonna have to report this to the police. Christ. Why did the neighbors not report anything? I'm calling Stephen. Stephen?
Now, Jack, I told you, I'm going for a drink with you for another night in a row.
That's not why I'm ringing. Although I could do with one. Someone broke into my apartment.
What? Did anyone say anything? Have you called the police yet?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, no one contacted me. As for the police, I'm calling right now, officer.
All right. Do you want me to head round? Look for any trace evidence?
I don't know. No, I guess not. Honestly, I don't have the strength to deal with it right now. I just want to lie down.
Are you sure? Because it's no trouble at all.
I think so. I'm sorry. I just wanted to calm down a bit. I don't know. That's probably some stupid joke. Only money was stolen.
Money? From Alice's box? Oh, fuck. Listen, I can come over. I have the key. I'll drop by, do what I need to do, and you go get some sleep.
No, don't trouble yourself. Lately, I've been just so tired and distracted. I don't know. Maybe I forgot to close the apartment door on my way to work. If anything else is missing,
All right. If you see anything, whoever did this may be watching.
I don't think anyone is dumb.
You're probably right. Take care, Jack. If you need anything, call me.
I promise. Thanks, Stephen. Sorry to bother you again. I've just...
It's not a problem.
Good night. What? I guess I should clean this shit up. What a mess. Now if only I could blame this on the burglars. Where to start? Now I'm sure I won't get caught up in these papers. I should pack this thing away. I have no interest in DIY at the moment. Maybe I could barricade the door with this. There you go. To be honest, I could leave it like this. I still don't understand why Alice liked this painting so much. I'm glad this didn't break.
Jack, why?
I think I'm just tired. Alice's family should really have some of these. That's enough for now. Jeez, I'm exhausted. I'll get the rest in the morning.
今天先玩到这里了。这个游戏好像不能直播玩好卡，可能下一次用录影的方式上传到 YouTube。然后我现在有点3D 晕，就因为这样，我不太喜欢玩第一人称的游戏。先这样子啊。